This is a Defocus Media production.
Audio Jungle.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus.
Well, hello. It's time for a new edition of the Defocus Media podcast, and we are all about what's going on in our offices, getting back into routine patient care. I think there's a lot of excitement for us to get back to seeing patients, but there's also a lot we need to be thinking about and considering to see patients both safely and effectively during this time. And so we've got someone who is an expert in owning a practice and getting things kind of picture perfect for Instagram, but also for real life. So welcome to the show, Dr. Carly Rose of Eyecare on the Square.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. That was a loaded intro. I wouldn't quite go that far, but thank you.
Well, I do want to tell people as a shout out, like, you've got to check out the Eyecare on the Square Instagram, because I've been working really hard on our private practice Instagram. And then I go over and look at yours, and I'm like, oh man, I'm failing miserably. So it's a very good inspirational kind of a series of images that you're doing to get the word out to your patients about how great your office is.
Thank you so much. But it's like a full-time job. And pre-COVID, I actually have, I don't know if you guys know this, but Dr. Cartwright and I work together. We're sisters. We also have a third sister that's a graphic designer. And I brought her on full-time staff almost a year and a half ago. And so she really helps with that too. So pre-COVID, it was not a one-man show. Post-COVID, it's been total chaos, but it's a lot. It's a lot to do.
Well, I know I'm super excited about you being on the show today, and it's awesome to have a team of sisters just doing something incredibly epic. I mean, you guys are really changing the game with how you're doing the social media, how you're doing patient care, how it's all family-oriented. A lot of people may not know who you are. Jen and I know that you're truly a star in eye care and a up-and-coming star that's really killing the game. But if you don't mind just sharing with the folks who you are, your background, how you got started in optometry, and then we would love to jump into how COVID-19 really impacted your office.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was in undergrad, I went through a lot of different options, of course. I thought about dental and pharm and derm and OBGYN. I think that was all of them. And at the time, my older sister was in optometry school. So I actually kind of eliminated that because I thought it would be redundant to have two eye doctors in the family. I was like, well, we should diversify, right? And I kept eliminating all these different specialties, and I kept coming back to optometry for all different reasons, work-life balance and no emergencies, even though now I was at the VA for a little while. There are definitely emergencies in eye care, but at the time, that's kind of what I was thinking. And so one day I called her. I was like, would this be ridiculous if I did this too? And she was like, nah, let's just do it. So that was kind of how it happened. Now we're super glad because we can bounce cases off of each other. We actually swore we would never work together, but now we work together and we can go to continuing education together. It's really been pretty awesome. We've maintained separation pretty well. We were super nervous about that. And what happened was she opened this office cold in 2013, the year I graduated and went into residency. And over the years, she decided she really liked patient care more than the business side. And I came on with her as an associate kind of by accident. She was taking a longer trip and was nervous hiring someone to cover her time off just because, you need to trust who who is caring for your patient. So I came on one day a week, and I really liked the business side. I knew I wanted to go into private practice the whole time. I tried to buy an office in optometry school. I tried to buy a building right out of optometry school. Like, I was all in. And so one day I approached her, like, how about we just flip-flop? I take over, you stay on as an associate. And it actually took me a little bit of time to convince her to do that because she knew how much she didn't like it, and she didn't want to do that to me, right? So anyway, long story short, it took maybe 8 months to finally get all of the logistics worked out, and we flip-flopped, and I bought her out 100% 2 years ago. She stayed on as an associate. I brought our other sister on, and it's just been game on ever since.
Wow.
I know, it's kind of a wild story.
Well, I was going to ask, like, how do you find, because I know I also have a sister in Eyecare, but we practice in different cities. And I imagine personally that it would be very difficult to, like, have your vision not meet, like, additional challenges, because as sisters, you're so close, like,
very different. Yeah.
You don't hold anything back. So
yeah.
with you being 100% sole owner, though, are you able to kind of put your full vision on things, or do you still find that it's harder with families having different opinions in the mix?
It's been gradual. So it's been 2 years now. So I think we've all kind of fallen into the places, but there were no like big family blow-ups or anything like that. But it was pretty gradual. I just made slow changes over time. Credit card processor, right? Like little changes that I would think, I hope she's not offended that I'm changing a credit card processor. Or I'll slowly swap out one frame line for another. Staff, of course, all new staff. At this point, it's essentially totally different. Everything is totally different, but it was really, really gradual. Plus, we didn't want patients to be confused, right? Because we're still the same doctors. I think most people don't even know that we swapped 2 years ago. So we did it really slowly for everyone's sake. Mine, theirs, the patients, the community, because we're in a really small community, and so we wanted it to be really subtle.
Now, you're the younger sister or older sister?
Middle.
Okay. And okay, so your other sister that's an optometrist, is she older or younger?
Older, yeah.
So she's the older one. So how are the conversations in the office and also the conversation out of the office? Does she boss you in the office, or does she boss you at home?
She doesn't.
Or you're the one that does it on both ends?
I will say that one of our saving graces has been that we are a very, very small footprint. We're about 750 square feet. So we're actually usually never in the office at the same time.
Okay.
So that's been huge. We do office meetings together, but the younger sister that does the design works from home. And then the older sister that's the associate, we're never here at the same time. So that's helped a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know
sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say, my sister and I were very close, and she likes to check me, even though she's the youngest one. So, if I was at work with her and she was an optometrist, oh, man, it would be like a reality TV show every day in the office. So I was like, man, that's difficult to deal with.
That's funny you brought that up, because we actually got approached to do a reality TV show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like Sisters and Eyecare, but obviously we didn't. But I trust her, I trust her patient care totally. So she just does her own thing. With changing around schedules, that's kind of something to where I'll be like, okay, we're going to move from 2 to 3 or something like that. Different procedures, but overall it's been pretty smooth.
Gotcha.
So you mentioned you have a small community, private practice, Eyecare facility here. How has COVID-19 affected your business to this point?
Oh, just like everyone else, it's totally flipped it upside down. It's crazy. It's like I bought an established practice to not start cold. Well, now here we are basically starting cold is what it feels like. It's chaos, but I'm excited to rework some things and build in efficiencies that we never really considered before, because you kind of fall into the same trap. So it's just habit. You keep doing things the way you've always done things. Well, this has given me an opportunity to really aggressively evaluate like telemedicine and check-in process, and just start to finish completely reevaluate. So I'm trying to look at it as a really exciting opportunity, even though it's been total chaos.
Well, how often are you going into the office to see patients right now versus telemedicine? What's that mix been like for you?
Well, I have a 5-year-old, so it'd be really difficult for me to work from home, honestly. So I come into the office 5 or 6 days a week still, since we closed. I try to keep up with the voicemails and the text messages, because we have leads, so our patients can text, and emails and orders, and catching the delivery guys. My office managers kind of saved my butt a lot too, working from home some, but it's been crazy. So I'd say anywhere from 1 to 5 telemedicines a day, some emergencies, a few a week in office, and then just trying to do all the admin behind the scenes, insurance stuff, but mostly in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And let's talk a little bit about, just the precautions that you have in the office. I mean, what are you guys doing as far as masks? What are you doing as far as cleaning up? If you don't mind just breaking down some of that information, because there's a lot of folks that will be getting back to so-called normal soon. But what are you doing in the office right now?
So I went ahead and got some slit lamp shields. I'm working on 4-opter shields and BIO shields, masks, of course, hand sanitizers, Clorox wipes, the works. And then what I was thinking, as soon as I bring the staff back on, I want to have like a 2 or 3 week retraining process, because I want to do things a lot differently. Obviously we're going to be scheduling a lot lighter, but I want to almost pre-check-in before they get here. And then, so what would that look like? I don't know. But my hope is having the tech. I kind of want to eliminate the front desk position almost. Mm-hmm. So I want the tech to call ahead, update all the information, get the HPI and all of that stuff. That way, when the patient walks in the front door, they can just go straight back. That's my hope. And then, of course, being 750 square feet is going to be very difficult to maintain 6 feet. The optical is going to be the trickiest part, for sure. So one idea we had with optical is my sister, that's the graphic designer, I want her to create an online store for us of all of our inventory and ask patients to look ahead at the inventory so they could get an idea of the frames they want. That way they could limit trying on to maybe 3 to 5 frames instead of 15. But we'll see. This is all theory, right? Once we open back up, then that's when the real planning begins.
And Jen, what are you guys doing in your practice? What plans do you have?
Yeah, so I think all of this is the best ideas, right? Like when we actually implement them, maybe we're going to find that that doesn't work at all. But right. I agree that we're doing most of the same things, right? We're limiting our schedule. We're actually going to be keeping at just a strict 30-minute, no double bookings, no shorter appointments, anything like that. Limiting no more than one visitor. Like if it's a child, you can have one parent, not any other children, for example. But so to limit the number of bodies in the office at the same time. But the optical, I think, is probably the thing that we're going to find the most challenging, because when you're over in that area, of course, you want to pick things up and try things on. But our patients are going to be wearing masks. How well are they going to feel that they're really telling what they look like in their glasses, putting a mask on? So I'm not sure how patients are going to feel about making eyewear purchase decisions, because they can't really see how they look, right? And that's a problem I don't know how to address at this point, because I don't want people taking their masks off in our public space optical, right? And then I've thought a little bit about pre-shopping, if you will, like when a patient comes in, maybe somehow instead of us having an online shop, because I know that would probably follow me, and I don't think I'm going to be able to create that. Sort of somehow asking patients, what kind of frame styles are you into? Is it rimless? Do you like tortoise shell? Are round versus square? And having my optician pre-select a few things based on what they've said their interest was, but we're not positive how to implement that yet. Darryl, what about you?
Yeah, so we've been in the mix of patient care for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. And believe it or not, going back to your concern about the face mask, we haven't had any issues with the patients. They've actually been putting the frames on, looking at themselves, and they've been pretty happy with it. Now, the real question, Jen, is 2-3 weeks out, when they get those frames, they don't have a face mask on, they're at home. Are they going to be calling back, Dr. Glover, you helped me pick this frame, and I look like crap in it. I need a new frame. Possibly, but maybe I'm doing well when it comes to fitting eyewear. I don't know. But in our office, we're basically, we have a closed door policy. No one can just come in and get glasses adjusted randomly or anything like that. We have someone that's manning the front desk, which has been a doctor. They call in, we go through a series of questions, whether it's COVID-19 and some other essential eye care things. And then we have them come in, clean their hands. Everyone in the office is double masked. And we also have someone checking the temperature. Then we work them up. Then we examine the eyes. Then we take them out to the optical. Then we basically help them with the eyewear. And what we've done, and what a lot of other folks have done that I've noticed, is basically one person takes the frames out and they put them in a bin. They sit down with the patient, show them the frames. That way you can limit them touching. Now, the problem is this. Patients love to touch. So they're, I like this, I like this, I like this. I'm like, put your head down, don't touch that. Like, oh. But, you have to check them because it's just a natural reaction of things. But then, we just wash everything down and we limit the amount of people that can really be in the office. And it's been beneficial. We've had some success. We've had some great days. There's been some days where there's been some no-shows as well, which I'm shocked because a lot of people are trying to get into the office and they make these appointments and sometimes they don't show. So the real question also is it worth really opening up right now? Because people they say they want an eye exam, but do they really show up because they're scared of something coming on their face and being so close? I mean, there's so many different variables that I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think as the economy opens up, people will get safer to actually come into our offices. Being in a shopping center, when we see people walking outside and they're shopping, I know things will pick up, at least in the location that I'm in.
I actually have two questions for you about that. When you say you have a closed door policy, are you locking it?
Absolutely. Okay. And a lot of facilities I noticed are doing that. Yeah. Are you guys doing that as well, Jen?
Yes, we do have the door locked, and then we know patients that are coming in, and when we see them park in the parking lot, okay, we go and lock it and welcome.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were thinking too.
To limit them touching door handles and stuff too, like we're getting the door open for them, for example.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of companies, especially private practices, doing a lot of curbside service, which I thought was pretty cool.
We've been doing that too.
Yeah, could you talk about that a little bit more in detail? Because I thought that was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, whenever, like, for example, if a glasses order comes in or a contact lens order, I already mentioned that we're a super small town, so I can easily deliver them if they want. Some people don't want that, and I just tell them to pull right up, and we have a pretty big storefront window, and I see them just pull right up, and I just run it out. No big deal. As easy as I can make it and as safe as possible, right?
Yeah, but the patients love it. I mean, that customer service is unmatched. My doctor is bringing out my pair of glasses, my contacts, showing me, well, you can't really see the smile, but you can smile with your eyes.
Exactly.
Things of that nature. So that service, they're never going to forget that. And they're always going to stick with you just because of that supreme, unmatched customer service that you're giving, especially in a small town because everyone probably knows everyone. And it's just going to sit with them. I know for me, if someone did that for me, I'm rocking with them for the rest of my life. I agree.
And it's you know what, I have hired the Power Practice as my business consultants, and Garrett Gerber said, could you imagine if we did this stuff pre-COVID? Like, man, how far up would we be?
Man,
that's what we have to start thinking about, is what can we do to elevate the experience without having to go through a pandemic, right?
Right. So, and also just keeping some of this stuff that we're doing, the technology, as far as online, being able to search the frame collection, like you said, prior to coming into the office.
Shipping all contact lenses, everything.
Shipping contacts. I mean, there's companies out there now that's for the optometrists, like Dr. Contact Lens or Dr. Contacts. They've done a phenomenal job. Two of our colleagues, two female optometrists, they're keeping everyone in the loop, so everyone gets to eat off of this platform. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that's out there in regards to the technology. But I think if we can really hone in on the e-commerce, whether it's glasses or contacts, if we can start to really implement more of telemedicine, not the old school way of how we're on call dealing with things, but actually using that moving forward. And then really just excelling in customer service with things you're doing as far as meeting people at the curb, that will take our profession, our practices to the next level. And I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a great time for optometry. Even though financially we're suffering, we're learning so much of how we had all these holes in the way that we practice in our business that it's just going to make us stronger and better, So I'm looking forward to it.
I agree, and I really think I feel like optometry and ophthalmology, I feel like we're all kind of growing together during this time, and I just love it. I love it.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit of a devil's advocate on this, and I'm not saying these are necessarily my personal opinions, but just some concerns that I've heard from the community, and I can completely understand. All right, so for example, the e-commerce side of the website, does it encourage price shopping of your optical? And many people don't carry a 100% selection of independent eyewear, and they are carrying things like a Ray-Ban or a frame that is easily shoppable online. And what would you say for doctors that are concerned if I put my prices up on the internet that someone's just going to say like, oh, I can get those Ray-Bans somewhere else for much cheaper?
Well, that's a fear for sure. We already in our optical don't have any Luxottica. We're moving to all independent, and our main lines are already independent. So I'm personally not too worried about that. What I'm more worried about is the quality of the optics. So I am a huge fan of in-person fitting, in-person measurements, trusting my lab. So I guess my bigger fear versus price shopping the frame is the quality of the lenses. Does that make sense? That's just for my specific optical, though.
Yeah. You know, what I see, Jen, is this is an opportunity, right? So number one, some vendors are not even going to allow you to put their stuff online. Like you're not going to be able to put probably a Chanel or Luxottica products and stuff of that nature because they don't like that, right? But I look at this as an opportunity for you to come up with your own independent eyewear line. It could be Jen's Eyewear, for example, right? And that's something that can be at a price point that's economical or something that can, go against a Warby Parker that's online that you could sell and brand on your own. And then you don't have to worry about someone price shopping or comparing on that end. And that helps to push your personal brand. When it comes to lenses, you could probably only have 3 options. Yeah. Make all your lenses probably polycarbonate and give a recommendation of this. If your prescription's between this works for you. If not, you need to come into the office and then have basic options of anti-reflective coating and a photochromic lens. And those are the only options that you get. Maybe only stick to single vision as well. But you own the space. You let the patient know what they can do and what they can't do. And at least you do pick up some traffic online for some of them people that don't want to deal with being in the office, or some of those people that may buy strictly online. So I think that's, an opportunity. Just think outside of the box, and maybe that'll work. Maybe it won't work, but this is the time to check it out and see if it can be something that can move your practice forward in the future.
My other potential concern that I personally actually have a little bit of too on telemedicine front. So we're going back into patient care. Many of us might even be adding an extra hour to the day because we're seeing less patients, right? We're doing much decreased patient volume, but you're trying to help keep your business afloat, pay your staff, pay your employees. So maybe you have to make your day a little longer to accommodate more patients. I've heard many offices doing that. And then we're saying, all right, but we want to make sure we can still offer telemedicine because our patients like that. So when are you carving time out to your now maybe even longer day to be in front of a computer and see patients on your computer? What do you think about doctors' concerns with that?
Well, my thought is for right now, we're only going to schedule 1 an hour. So there will be a big doctor gap for us, right? So you could squeeze, you could see a in-person and then telemedicine, in-person telemedicine, right?
Yeah.
That's what my thought would be. And honestly, telemedicine still has a lot of limits, in my opinion, because, I do a lot of dry eye. And for me, dry eye is super comprehensive, and I really need to see the person. And so, I could get you entry-level fish oil, hot compress, blink, exercise, lid wash, symptom check, but I can't show you your eyes. And that's where the meat is on compliance. So, I don't know. I think it still has its limits. To me, it would be mostly like a subcon team check, like follow-up, maybe like a contact lens check. But I think it still, for me, has a lot of limits. And I'm trying to push how it could work. Because like you said, we need to flex it and get creative and think outside the box. So I'm trying really hard to think how this could work.
Yeah, and I like that concept of being able to check up on a patient for dry eyes, because the one thing that we don't do well in optometry is have enough touch points. So if there is something every quarter, where you set up that telemedicine call to say, hey, how are your dry eyes? What kind of issues are you having? You can then at that point in time write down all the problems they're having, have them come back in, 2 weeks or something.
Readdress
and
the
then,
follow-up.
So it's a touch point where you're hitting them outside of social media, which is pretty cool, In regards to, Jen, you asked another question prior to that. You were saying, what was the question? Time?
Like how to squeeze it in.
Oh, time, yeah, that's right.
Time for telemedicine, yeah.
So I saw something online on LinkedIn the other day. I think it was Dr. Lee. I think what they're doing in their practice is, being that not all the doctors are in the practice at one time, whatever doctor's not in the office is actually doing the telemedicine calls.
A good idea.
That way, you're covering on both bases. Instead of doing an hour, maybe you could bump it up to every 30 minutes. And then that doctor that's not in the office, then they could actually be handling all the telemedicine calls. That way you're not getting swamped by work, and you can keep it within those work hours as well. And you're both winning because, it's going to the bottom line for you as well.
Well, I know the next part of this discussion is a little bit more of a prediction. We really don't have a good way of knowing, but we might have a feeling of what things are going to be like in the practice when we are seeing routine eye care again. How do you feel like your business long-term is going to be impacted? Do you feel like in a couple of months, everything should look really good? Or do you feel like optometrists need to be concerned in 3 or 4 months still about the revenue sources coming in?
So I don't think things will go back to normal my prediction is like a year, right? I think that this is going to be for a long time. Revenue-wise, I'm really hoping to just crush revenue per patient. I want to really focus in on how we can be better. So I'm really not concerned. I mean, I'm blindly optimistic. So maybe don't ask me, and that's why I try not to go down the rabbit hole on certain social media pages, if you know what I mean. So I am not concerned. I don't think it'll be normal. I think we'll find a new normal, but I'm not concerned.
Yeah, I mean, when you have this, when there's problems, it equals to opportunity, right? New things that we'll explore. So
I'm excited.
If anything, as we mentioned before, it's just going to propel our practices to be better and to be a better sector in the healthcare industry as well. So I foresee us doing well, but I think, about 6 months it's going to take, Jen. I don't think this is going to be over until folks feel comfortable with going into retail settings. I feel like once folks go into retail settings, they're going to the mall and they're just making it rain with money and stuff like that. Their life is great. But the other thing we have to look at, what happens in November? We have an election. Elections impact the economy greatly. So what's going to happen then? That's what scares me, because that could change the game completely.
I will say I have some major concerns, and I don't want to be alarmist. I think negativity has no strong place, but I am concerned with we're seeing less patients, right? Your capture rate becomes more important than ever with the way that vision plans are structured. If we're taking vision plans again, right, when we restart routine care, if my patients aren't making an optical purchase and they're saying, I don't really feel comfortable, these frames have been, touched, even though we're cleaning, obviously we're going to have we're not going to have someone touching the frame and then putting it back on the board, right? But it's in a public space. If it was me, I wouldn't want to put on any of those glasses, even if I see them being cleaned. And I would be much more likely to think, this is probably the year I'm going to buy online.
Yep.
And I think a lot of patients might start having that attitude, and optical may really suffer. Though we haven't been doing routine care in my practice, and Daryl, you seem to, in your practice, have seen maybe that's not the case. So maybe my negativity is unwarranted. I hope so.
Well, some things for essential workers turn into refractive care, right? And we actually I feel like we've seen an increase in capture rate because the people that are actually coming in for those things, they have one thing in mind and they want to be able to accomplish that. So I feel like the folks that will schedule an appointment, they're about their business. They're not going to waste your time coming in. But again, online, there is a place for it. This is the time to play around with it, fine tune it and see if it is something that you can implement to your practice. At the end of the day, we have to realize e-commerce is a big thing. We have to realize that people want to do everything through their cell phone. They want to be able to purchase products, whether it's dry eye products, whether it's a pair of glasses, whether it's a pair of contacts. They want just that ease of doing whatever it is for their lifestyle, right? So we really have to start looking at these other things as well. So I really want to see our e-commerce grow, but I want to see us own it. And this is the time for optometrists to actually own it, but also give education about owning it as well.
So on that vein, I've also been thinking about a lot of products I want to launch, but like how to. So maybe we could get a group of optometrists that are interested in product lines and figure out different distributors and packaging and manufacturers, because that's like a whole nother world.
Absolutely.
That we're already trying to figure out. Obviously, we want to be the best eye doctor, and then we have business, and we have optical and retail and marketing and social media. How do we also add in production? But I'm all for it. I have 3 or 4 different things I'm like ready to do, but it's like how to. So if you guys have any ideas on that, shoot them my way.
and that's what we have to do. We have to sit down as optometrists, some of us as business owners, and figure out a game plan on how we can continue to have ownership of this space and be able to offer these products not just to our patients, but to the whole world. Because as the online landscape continues to grow, if we don't grow with it, private equity, big
we're dead
business,
in the water. Yeah.
Basically. So we have to take ownership right now and realize that this disruptive technology can serve our patients, but we just have to have ownership. Ownership is so key right now in eye care. If we don't put our hands on it, we will be lost, You're
right. Well, speaking of creative projects that you've taken on, one of the things we've been talking about a little bit before we started recording this episode was you are on TikTok now, and
I am
encouraging the Eyecare community to join in. So tell us a little bit about how TikTok is working for you as an eye doctor.
It has been a wild ride. It has truly been a wild ride. So have you guys ever heard of Gary Vee?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that's he's the man. Literally the only reason I'm on TikTok, right? I am way too old for this platform. And I'm not a social media user, which is, I am, but like my personal Instagram has like 200 followers. I specifically don't let people follow me, right? And I don't post a lot. So it felt very foreign for me to just put myself out there on all of these things, but he says do it and I do it. I tell my business consultants all the time, if you tell me to stand on my head at 5 a.m. on a Tuesday and that's what's going to make me succeed, then I'm going to do it, right? So I begrudgingly got on there and it's blown up, obviously. And I was saying this earlier, I tell people this. I have a mission statement for my business and I have a separate mission statement for my social media. And part of that is to add value to the viewers. So I just want to educate and inform. And then I also want to elevate our profession. I've spent many years talking about how we don't get enough credit because we're not MDs. And instead of that, how about we just show people our skill and our knowledge and that we can add value? And that's just what I'm trying to do.
And I think you've done a phenomenal job. I've seen some of your videos. I got on TikTok maybe 2-3 weeks ago. My niece Morgan, shout out to Morgan, I think she's about 9 years old, as beautiful as she could be. She was like, Uncle D, let's get on TikTok. And I said, TikTok for what? So we can go viral. And I'm like, is this what's in the mind of 9-year-olds and these little kids and stuff like that? I mean, I know my son, he's 3 and he knows how to swipe and ignore a notification when it comes on mommy or daddy's phone so he can continue watching this show. But like, TikTok is a powerful tool. And if you're able to utilize it, if you're able to utilize it in a way that it gives patient education and awareness like you have done, and also connects with other healthcare disciplinaries, it can really change the game. And again, having ownership in another landscape, the digital world, social media, it can really change the game for us as eye care professionals. If you don't mind just sharing with us some of your biggest hits that you've had in regards to your TikTok.
And I have to say, so I went into it thinking the same thing, that it's just a bunch of 12-year-olds dancing. Don't sleep on these viewers, because the questions they are asking are the most poignant questions. They are really concerned about their health. They really want to know how to make themselves the best version of themselves. So I've been totally floored. Also, side note, to link the e-commerce with social media, I never got on TikTok to go viral, and I never got on TikTok to sell things, but these people are DMing me on Insta saying, I love those glasses, how can I get them? And I'll tell them the frame line, because I want to support the local docs, right? So I'll be like, it's Moto, or it's Tom Ford, or it's whatever. You can easily find a distributor in your area. And they will come back and say, look, I can't find them. Can I buy them from you? I shoot them a text to pay, and I mail them out. I'm like selling glasses left and right without even trying. It's crazy because I wear them in my TikToks, and they're like, I love those. I want those. They don't ask price, nothing.
It's no different from you being in your exam room and you're prescribing from the chair and you're wearing a dope pair of eyewear. Like, I wear a pair of Cutler and Gross frames, my computer glasses in the office all the time. And I sell at least 4 or 5 of those a month. And we're talking about a pair of glasses that's $500 a pop, not even including the lenses, you know? So when people see you doing it and they look at you as an influencer, they're going to want to purchase those products. And that's why it's important for eye care professionals to get on.
And that's why we need to launch some product lines, right? Like a Dr. Rose. I'm telling you, I'm ready for it. I'm hungry
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. But even with social media, especially Instagram, being that it's a visual platform, that's a good entryway or a good conversation to have when a patient comes in. Dr. Rose, I saw you in these incredible glasses. I love those. Matter of fact, you were at this restaurant that I love. That conversation, that intimacy just takes that doctor-patient interaction and experience to the next level, to the point where they trust you more. They're going to tell you about their family. That's going to open up other opportunities, and they're going to purchase. And as always, that's going to increase your bottom line. I could talk about doctor-patient interaction all day, but let's get back to some of your cool stories that you've actually experienced.
So the very first one that went viral is a blink exercise video I did. And it's so funny because the ones I really think about and the ones I like take time filming and editing, they flop every time. The ones that I just like quickly film, pop up, and I don't even think about it, those are the ones that pop off. So it's like, I can't predict this algorithm, so I just keep putting things up and whatever sticks, right? So that was the first one that like, I kept looking at it like, what? Why are people watching this blink exercise video? And I woke up and it had like 300,000 views, and I'm like, why am I not rich yet? What is going on? And then I did one in Iceland by my 3 sisters and our whole family. It was a group of 10. We all went to Iceland in January. And so we went to the Blue Lagoon, and the Blue Lagoon is really, have you guys seen this video? Okay.
I haven't seen the video, but I think Jen has actually been there before, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you know that the silica damages frames. So I put a video up, like, if you come to, I'm like borderline embarrassed even talking about this, because it still feels very fraudulent to consider myself any kind of like viral anything. But I basically just said like, hey, if you come to the Blue Lagoon, don't wear glasses, get daily disposable contact lenses just for like this moment, basically. And it got, that one video got me 13,000 followers in one night.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
Wow.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I still don't get it. I've only been on there for like 4 or 5 months, so I still am very new. So that's why I feel so fraudy, but it's crazy. These kids want to know, man.
That's cool. Well, so the great thing about it is, like, obviously you're creating educational content. We're not asking doctors to go on and like necessarily, I mean, if you want to make it, you can, but we're talking about patient education videos here, and it's
exactly.
So anybody, you know, this is part of our professional ambassadorship to be able to.
Exactly. Just a couple of days ago, I did one on a Brock string, like how to use a Brock string, because, and you can make one at home, right? We're all under quarantine. It's because I did a binocular vision disorder video that kind of went a little crazy. So then I did a follow-up, like, hey, here's a Brock string. You can make it at home. Focus, like, this is what physiological diplopia is. And I don't know, it's like at 500,000 views or something for a Brock string. Like, in theory, a Brock string would be very uncool.
Right.
Yeah, I need to go watch that video. It's been a while that I even heard that terminology in school.
Right? I know I had to go find my Brock string, and that took a while.
Oh man.
I feel like on TikTok the key is to find the trend and then morph it into your specialty, right? So, and you have to, this is what's crazy about it. So I know for me with Instagram, and I really kind of overthink things, and TikTok has made me stop doing that because as soon as a trend hits, it's gone. And so you really have to just put it out there or it will flop.
Gotcha. Well,
good advice. I'm feeling more encouraged. Maybe I will try this, Daryl. I don't know.
yeah, look, I tried it. I was trying to just pull it up while she was talking, and then I heard this song, and I was like, "Ooh, we can't play this on there," because people have all types of crazy songs and do all types of
wildly
dancing and
inappropriate
stuff. And I was going to see how many followers I had, but I know last time I checked, I had more followers than I didn't even put anything up. You know, I just had the two same videos.
What is your handle? Because I'm going to... Hold on. See, there it goes.
That's what happened to me just now.
What is your handle, Daryl?
Dr. Daryl Glover. DrDarryl, and then Glover. Glover. All right, so let me see. Now that you pulled yours up. So, I have 3 likes. I have 3 followers and 11 likes. So there you go.
Yes, you do in 2 videos. Nope, you have 4 followers now.
Oh, okay. Oh, sweet. Woo, woo. Thank you for following me.
Yes.
But like I'm looking at my videos, and there's like 220, 141 people that have actually viewed it. So I mean, like with me just doing something fun with my niece, I got a few views.
Yeah. It's wild. It will blow you away.
Your, social handles with everybody so they can follow along on all your platforms.
I would love that. So on Instagram's Eyecare on the Square, which I wanted to ask you guys now that like there's this Dr. Rose TikTok following, I may do a professional Dr. Rose Instagram too. I don't know. Right now it's Eyecare on the Square.
You know, I agree with you. I'm a firm believer that, you know, you don't want to confuse doctor to patient with doctor to doctor, business to business, business to consumer. Right. I think having different channels, even though it can be more work, is more beneficial because at the end of the day, you can, you know, be profitable on both ends.
Definitely,
and you
exactly.
don't want to, you know, and you don't want to confuse that message between your patient base and your eye care professional base. And you know, with these different social media platforms, the algorithms work a certain way. You know, when certain people follow you, it's going to show up more on their pages or their friends' pages and things like that. So I don't know TikTok at all like that, but I know with Instagram, you can see how those algorithms work and who follows you. So I'm a firm believer of always having your professional and then your business page completely separately. But some people combine both and they do extremely well.
Yeah, so stay tuned. But for right now, it's Eyecare on the Square's Instagram. TikTok is Dr. Rose, all spelled out, DoctorRose. LinkedIn is Dr. Carly Rose, and I am about to launch a YouTube. I just got my tripod and light today, so I have a lot of ideas for YouTube, but I have no idea how that platform works, so it's coming, but I don't have a handle or anything yet for that. So Dr. Rose on TikTok and Eyecare on the Square on Instagram. LinkedIn is Dr. Carly Rose.
Awesome. Now, one thing we like to do before we let any guests go is just get words of wisdom. You know, what words of wisdom do you have for all our followers and listeners out there in the world?
I've got one. So I have 2 of my favorite quotes, I'll tell you guys. One is progress over perfection. Because at heart, I'm kind of a perfectionist, and that will get in your way and ruin you, right? So I just constantly have to say, don't let perfection be the enemy of better, right? Progress over perfection. And number 2 is you can't read about a push-up. You just got to get in there and do the work.
I like that.
Right? That's it.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time today. We enjoyed hanging
out. Of course. It was great.
All right, colleagues, and it's a wrap. Thank you dearly for hanging out with the Defocus Media team. We hope truly something resonated with you. And if it did, be sure to give us 5 stars and make sure you follow us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, you named it. And our handle is at Defocus Media on all platforms. And until next time, be sure to keep it 2020, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.